For decades, just the thought of talking about extraterrestrials or UFOs to somebody else was scary as hell because just of the amount of ridicule that you knew that you were going to get if you said to somebody else, said, hey, I believe that we're not alone. Now, if you went any further and said, hey, I believe that we've never been alone on this planet, we've been visited the entire time, historical records indicate this very strongly, you were laughed at up until recently, up until just a few years ago when the U.S. Navy released these videos. Now, the videos that I'm showing you here, you guys have all seen them, or most of you have seen them, but the report that you're about to see done by CNN was done just a couple of days ago, January 12th, 2023. So just a couple of days ago as the recording of this video. Now, we're just going to get into just a little bit of this right here, and then we're going to see how the narrative is building very rapidly. Check this out, guys.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
All right, so those were U.S. Navy fighter pilots celebrating when they locked onto an unidentified object dashing across the sky. Back in 2015, videos like these have fueled years of UFO speculation and questions about extraterrestrial life. And now NASA will be looking for more answers here. Today, the agency is officially launching its study on unidentified aerial phenomena.
So NASA is now launching an official study on the UFO UAP topic.
And joining us now is CNN space and defense correspondent Kristen Fisher. My goodness, I mean, this is the kind of thing that back in the day you would have sort of laughed at, but now we've seen these videos taken by professionals in the military. What can you tell us about this team and the studies they'll be doing?
So this NASA study really joins Congress, which has been investigating it, the Pentagon, which has been looking at.
So now we are getting into the congressional and getting closer to reaching the executive branches of offices when it comes to acknowledging the legitimacy of this topic.
Into all of these incidents, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, now NASA, they announced this study last summer, and just on Friday they decided to.
Now, remember, boys and girls, just a few years ago, probably I'd say a decade ago, the entire government was saying there's nothing to this. We've looked at it. There's nothing there.
Officially announced its team because the study, of course, starts today, and it's 16 individuals. These are people who are astronomers, astrophysicists, biologists, oceanographers. They've got a lot of former NASA, Pentagon, even some former FAA folks on the team, and a former astronaut, a very famous former astronaut, Scott Kelly, who famously spent a year in space. And so what they're going.
All right, so as you guys see, the narrative is building very rapidly here. This from The Guardian. The U.S. government logs more than 500 UFO reports with hundreds unexplained. Hundreds unexplained. This was also what they found. We could go back 80 to 100 years. Now, let's go back 80 years. Let's go back 60 to 80 years, okay? Project Blue Book, Project Grudge. They came up with almost the same percentages, but brushed it off. Just said, almost like, well, yeah, we can't explain these, but, no big deal. Well, still we have these, we can't explain them, but now we're looking at this a little more seriously. Now we're not going, no big deal. Now we're going, what is this, right? The U.S. government is examining 510 UFO reports, more than triple the number in its 2021 file. More than triple in 2 years, you guys. You see what I'm talking about the rapid advancement of this? Now, even Forbes magazine is chiming in. UFO sightings just skyrocketed, and they want to tell us what the Fed has to say as to the explanation, which is very interesting. The U.S. Intelligence Office, tasked with investigating UFOs, reviewed hundreds of new instances of sightings over the past 2 years, many of which remained unexplained and pose a potential threat to national security. Now, Forbes magazine has even gone a step further and put an image here of a fighter jet. Looks like a Tomcat chasing a UFO. Now, obviously, this is an animated image, but just the fact that they're going as far as to put this on here. Now, the key facts of this report from Forbes is the report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence said 247 new sightings have been flagged since March 2021. The cutoff date for an earlier report, while 119 additional sightings from before March 2021 have also been investigated. This brings the total number of cases the intelligence community has reviewed over the past few years to 510, a significant spike from 144 they had investigated before March 2021. So threefold. This is, many of the newly reported sightings were explained by balloons, drones, or clutter, such as birds or plastic bags. Now, birds are not clutter, folks. I'm sorry. I don't know why the hell they put that in there like that. That's them, not me. That's Forbes. Forbes considers birds to be clutter. Or, no, wait, I'm sorry. The U.S. government? The intelligence community considers birds to be clutter. Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. But 171 were marked uncharacterized and unattributed. Out of the 510 that they investigated, many newly reported sightings were explained as balloons, drones, or birds or plastic bags, but 171 were marked as uncharacterized and unattributed. Very, very interesting. We're moving forward pretty rapidly here, guys. Now, I've got a little surprise here for the end. Those of you guys that stuck around to the end, I think you guys are going to really dig this. These are screenshots of an island that I took. I took these screenshots, I want to say 4 years ago. So you're going to see how in 4 years, 3 or 4 years or so, the abilities of Google Earth to take images in certain areas has devolved for some weird reason. And we also see this on mountain ranges going across the center of Antarctica that I used to be able to get very clear images of, where, ironically enough, that some of these mountains started to look like pyramid-type structures as the snow was melting from them. Then all of a sudden we get these massive pixelated regions where you can't see anything, right? So I'm going to show you this object, and it's very interesting that it is no longer able to be viewed on Google Earth, but it's sitting on that island right there, South Georgia and South Sandwich Islands, and this is the object. And I measured it from the Google Earth Measure device, and it appears to be from nose to tail, from beginning to end. And I'm going by the shadow marks here that make the clear indication of the actual structure itself, whatever it is. I'm not saying what this is. I'm just saying it's very weird, and I can no longer get a clear image of it through the satellite imagery that's available today. But luckily, I took screenshots of this puppy a while back. So it appears to be 200 feet long. Very specific. It's not like 130, 240 something, 200 something. It's pretty close to 200 feet long. Now, it might be 190 something, might be 20 something, but it's very close to that. Now, this is the area where it is resting at, and I actually was smart enough at the time to pin the location, so I have the coordinates here. 54 degrees south, 36 degrees west, and I've got the minutes, the hours and minutes here, or the minutes, yeah, the hours and minutes here. And the elevation where it was resting, okay? And it's in the middle of this little valley that's on the South Georgia Islands. Now, notice that it left a huge trail. So you'll see an impact mark right up here to near the top left of this image, where I'm circling the cursor. It appears that this is where it struck the snow, and whatever it is, it slid down to where it rested at, and I measured that as well, and that comes out to about 3,500 feet from maybe about 4,000 feet or so, that it struck the snow or the bottom of this mountain right here, and then slid all the way down here, okay? And that's where it came to rest. and very, very clear images at this time. As you guys can see, this is, I can see this very clearly. We can zoom in here. We can actually get a very clear image of this impact. You can see how the snow was thrown away, right? And you can see the trail very clear, and then this thing is just sitting there. Not a problem seeing it here, right? Here's a bird's eye view. Very strange looking. And the front seems to have kind of this protruded type of nose to it. Now I'm not saying whether this is artificial or natural. I don't know, right? Okay, but here's another. This is what blew my mind right here. Okay, while I was looking at this area, I noticed this thing where I've dropped the second pin here on the top of the mountain, and what struck my eye is how the sun is reflecting off the left side of this mountain here, but at the top of it, it almost looks like it's charred. It's darker, almost like the snow has been burnt, but I know snow doesn't burn, it melts. I know people are going to someone's going to say something about that comment, possibly, I'm sure. But something looks wrong here to me, okay? Right? And then on that pin right there, you can't see it because in this image, the actual pin is sitting there. But I'm going to show you guys what is sitting there. This is what is sitting there. This is where that discoloration on the other side of the mountaintop is. And this looks like something, to me, this looks like something is sticking into the side of the mountain, and the sun is reflecting off of it because it's up high enough over the ridge as far as the sun's perspective for the sun to catch it. But this, to me, looks absolutely 100% artificial. Absolutely 100% artificial. Nobody can tell me that this is something natural that happened on this mountain. I'm sorry. I'll just never believe it unless someone flies me in a helicopter and shows me something that looks like this or shows me this, and I can really see that it is natural. But so right here, I took a screenshot and I put some arrows so we can see where that object is sticking into the mountaintop in relation to where the other one struck the snow here and started sliding through that valley. Now, I've got all of these images. If somebody wants to take closer looks at them, closer analysis of them, they're more than welcome to contact me, leave a message in some way on my Twitter or on this YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm more than happy to send them to you guys. Anybody can take a look at them. Anybody can analyze them in any way they want. This one, I did take a measurement of the shadow it's casting is 55 feet long. That's not to say that it's 55 feet tall. The shadow is going to be in relation to where the sun is at that time, and I'm not an expert in any of that to give any information on that. All I know is that shadow is about 55 feet long. So now this is what really I found concerning about this is when I went back to the area where I had found this object, and I'm not claiming to be the discoverer of this object. I'm sure other people have run across this before. This is probably online. In fact, if anybody knows now what this is, by all means, leave a comment below, leave a message in some way, let me know. But let me come back out here so you guys can see where I'm just like, really? That there's no way. Oh, come on. Load up. There we go. All right, so we're going to come down in here. Now, already it's not loading, right? This is like the best resolution I've gotten from this area. And the funny thing is, you'll see is that's not my, I know people are going to say that's my internet connection. That's not my internet connection, because I can come over here and I can get this area to load just fine. Okay, I can see these mountains right here. I can get down into here. We can get some detail on the snow here. Right, I can see the cracks in the snow. Not a problem, right? So very, interesting that as I come back to, you'll see it's just washed out. It's completely, now coming down in here, and the coordinates that I have them written down here. 54 degrees, 39:45 south, 36 degrees, 11:41 west. I mean, we drop that pin on there, we're right there. I mean, that's pretty much right there. It's a couple, it's this valley for sure. This is the actual mountain where everything had happened. If you take a look at this, if we back out of here real quick, come back a little bit. I'm trying to get the same perspective that we had from the other image, and I'm going to go back to this other image where we at right here. Kind of get fairly close in relation to, right? This is like, there is no comparison. This is the same mountain. That's the same ridge line, and we can't get clarity of anything. I mean, it looks like the aurora borealis on the ground. I mean, I can take pictures of clouds better than this, you know. So whatever this image or whatever this object is, again, if somebody knows what this is, please drop it in the comments below. If anybody knows if it's still there or if it was retrieved and they disclosed what it was, but I never saw anything come out about what this object is. Now, this is just a side note. This is just me having fun as an 80s child. I grew up watching a show called Battlestar Galactica, and they had these fighter jets in Battlestar Galactica. Now, hold on. I'm not saying that that's what this is. I'm not saying I think that's what this is. Just in my fun 80s kid head, when I see this sticking out of the side of that mountain, I think of this. I'm sorry, but this is the Battlestar Galactica fighter jet. That's the fighter in Battlestar Galactica. And to me, this makes me think of that. That's all. I'm not saying I think it's that. I'm saying it makes me think of that. Okay. Just a little fun. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you like the content. If you like the content, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep your eyes on the skies, you guys. We're not alone. And open contact, it's coming 2023 to 2025. Enjoy the ride.